The following is a rebroadcast of 2 News at 11.
You're watching Florida's 2. This is 2 News at 11 with Steve Rondinero and Robin Chapman. Chief Meteorologist Dave Marsh and Sports with Mark Middleton. Now, Florida's 2 News.
The space shuttle appears shipshape for tomorrow. Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Tonight's top story sits atop Launch Pad 39A. It has been a busy night under the bright glare of the lights at the Kennedy Space Center. The launch of Columbia on its record-breaking flight is about 13 hours away now. Let's check in with Dan Billow as technicians prepare to pump rocket fuel into the shuttle's big tank. Dan?
The countdown is going well, Steve, and at the moment, Columbia is ready in case there's good weather tomorrow. Forecasters here hold out only a 40% chance of that. Still, the excitement never fails to build as T0 nears.
As the sun sets, technicians perform the final tasks before fueling tomorrow morning and liftoff just after noon. Electricity is in the air.
I can't believe this is happening, and it's not real. It's just been an incredible dream.
Dina Rashkover is one of dozens of experimenters who've waited years for this flight. She came up with her experiment on planarian flatworms a decade ago when she was in 5th grade. Back at the pad, managers expect lightning that was in the area tonight to be gone by early morning. It'll have to be if technicians are to start the hazardous task of fueling the shuttle on time at 3:47. NASA spokesmen are optimistic.
Everything's going fine now. All the problems we had with the hardware have gone away.
Columbia's flight is to be a record-breaking 13 days, and this is the last chance astronauts have to practice the landing. Their training planes sped through the sunset, rehearsing the 200-mile-an-hour landing again and again. And after sunset, the lights cut through the quiet darkness, and launch day, with its dangers and its promise, was almost here.
I still got another 24 hours. It's not real yet.
But the clock is ticking.
Okay. 7 astronauts will board the shuttle just before 9 tomorrow morning, and liftoff is set for 12:07 p.m. If there's bad weather or technical problems, the liftoff could be as late as 2:37. And, of course, we will show it to you live. Steve, I'll see you out here for that.
You got that? No technical glitches at all at this point, then?
Nothing at all. They had a few earlier. They're all fixed.
Like the sound of that. Thank you, sir. That's Dan Billow tonight, keeping us up to date at KSC.
In other news, 2 women who are now grown have charged a Central Florida man with repeatedly molesting them when they were children, more than 20 years ago. David Marvin Duff is now charged with 52 counts of sexual battery. As Wendy Chioji reports, a long investigation by Winter Park Police led to today's arrests.
Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I'd like to know what's going on.
You're charged with 52 counts of sexual child abuse. Are you saying that you don't know anything about that?
Winter Park Police disagree. They say David Marvin Duff sexually assaulted 2 girls from 1968 through 1975. The girls were 6 years old when the attacks began at Duff's home on Lockberry Road. They're now around 30 and reported the sexual assaults 4 months ago to police.
When you deal with sexual batteries on young people, it's a very difficult crime to report, and I guess they felt secure enough to report it now. And statute of limitations do not run out on a life or capital felony case, which this is.
Each of the 52 sexual battery counts can carry a life sentence with a minimum of 25 years behind bars before release. Duff, a civilian who works in the laundry room of the Naval Training Center, potentially faces 1,300 years in jail. The Orange Osceola County State Attorney's Office says the number of cases like this is growing.
We're getting more and more of them, and that's good. It takes a lot of courage for a woman or a man to come out and say, I've had a family member over a course of years do this to me.
Means says decades-old cases are tough to prosecute since there's no physical evidence. It comes down to the accuser's word against that of the alleged attacker. In Winter Park, Wendy Chioji, 2 News.
Though David Duff does work in the laundry room of Orlando's Naval Training Center, an NTC spokeswoman said tonight he is a civilian.
Congressional leaders are burning them midnight oil in an attempt to end the nation's rail strike. Passenger and freight service has been crippled across the country, including here in Central Florida. 2 News' Beth Powers has the latest on the strike and its impact on our area.
Coal, chemicals, fruits, and vegetables all stalled in Central Florida. A few miles up the rail line in Sanford, human freight waits for the Virginia-bound auto train, also stopped dead in its tracks.
I'll wait one day, but I don't want to wait no 3 or 4 days.
The strike has stranded hundreds of tourists in Central Florida. Some, like the Pappas of New Jersey, are heading home via Greyhound.
It has been a hassle for us. We lost a day on our vacation, and now we got to, you know, we just want to get back home.
Stranded passengers are also taking to the skies, Delta offering half-price seats, and U.S. Air allowing Amtrak ticket holders to fly standby.
The negotiations are stalled.
In Washington, Congress holds an emergency session in an effort to get things rolling again.
Consequences flow from the first day of a disruption. Tomorrow, the price paid will be much higher.
Many worry the nation's fragile economy hangs in the balance. The White House says the strike could cost the country $1 billion a day. Beth Powers, 2 News.
And the Bush administration has been pressing Congress to end the national rail shutdown, but congressional leaders say they are uneasy about forcing a contract on either side.
In Portland, Oregon tonight, a 20-year-old college kid who also happens to be 7 feet tall captured headlines about a contract. He was drafted for the Orlando Magic.
Shaquille O'Neal, of course, the man of the hour. Mark is here with more.
Turning out to be a controversial night, guys. What is maybe a small matter to most of us, but a big matter to the players, could be a controversy. Let me tell you about that. First of all, folks, this was as easy a draft as there ever has been, unless you've been out of the solar system. You know that the Magic had only 1 pick this year, and it was the pick to have the first draft, or the first pick in a draft that featured a once-in-a-lifetime player. Here's NBA Commissioner David Stern.
With the first pick in the 1992 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic selects Shaquille O'Neal from Louisiana State University.
Shaq pretending he's surprised by the announcement. There's his proud mother, and now the controversial moment. The Magic present Shaq with jersey number 33, his college number, but a number worn by Magic veteran Terry Catledge. Did the Magic check with Catledge first? Pat Williams says yes.
33 seems to be a big part of Shaquille's life. It was important to him, you know, to have that jersey number.
So Terry has already said that yes, he'd give it up?
Right.
Terry seems to have forgotten that conversation tonight, Pat.
Is that right?
Yes, that's right. In fact, listen closely. Catledge told us tonight he wouldn't give it up.
You're not going to change the number, are you? No. Huh? No. I don't know. Depending on how much you want to pay me.
What do you think about that? I mean, was there any doubt that you might get number 33?
It was at first, but then when Alex and Travis told me, you know, Terry doesn't mind giving up 33, and I was like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Terry. Appreciate it.
All right. Good.
All right.
Now, Catledge's comments to us were before the draft. When he saw the 33 being presented to Shaquille O'Neal, there are people who say they saw him storm out of the building. So the Magic may have some public relations work to do with their veteran Terry Catledge.
Yeah, Catman may be able to wheel and deal.
He could get some money. We'll have more on the big pick coming up in sports.
All right. Coming up, should prayers be allowed at commencements in public schools? The Supreme Court decides.
Something's alive, abuzz, and growing inside a shed.
And later on, a material girl spends millions for a Florida hideaway.
As Central Florida's most progressive dealer, you'll find a new commitment to customer satisfaction at Jimmy Bryan Mazda. And Jimmy Bryan is making it easier than ever to drive the Mazda you want at a price you can afford. You can count on our dependable service and parts department, open until 9 weekdays and all day Saturday. Discover Jimmy Bryan Mazda today. Located on North Highway 1792 in Longwood. Jimmy Bryan Mazda, building relationships through better service.
Where do we go to get it all? Dairy Queen. It's the famous full meal deal, and the deal is it's just $2.49. $2.49 for a big, juicy, 100% beef hamburger, crisp hot fries, a soft drink, and dessert. A delicious 5-ounce sundae. The $2.49 full meal deal. We give you taste, we give you value, we treat you right. Dairy Queen.
Frustration and anger toward his son's killer led Junie Rios Martinez Sr. to speak out against Mark Schwab in open court today. As Schwab's attorney urged a judge not to impose the death penalty, the father of 11-year-old Junie Rios Martinez could not hold his tongue.
I'm just begging you not to kill him. Because
like my boy begged him not to kill him.
Martinez then sat in court listening the rest of the way as the defense said Schwab was assaulted as a youngster. As a result, is violently and mentally ill. A judge will decide next Wednesday whether or not to sentence Schwab to death. This is how prosecutors say carpet cleaner Robert Davis strangled 2 University of Florida co-eds last year. The state rested its first-degree murder case against Davis today. Tomorrow the defense will have its turn, and it will be up to the judge to decide his innocence or guilt. Davis waived his right to a jury trial, so the trial is expected to wrap up quickly.
The Florida Senate was ready to buckle down and work through the night and the weekend to approve a state budget, but it was taken care of tonight. Yet it's a budget that Governor Childs says he'll veto. The new budget is $30.9 billion, but contains no new taxes. The Senate rejected a supplemental tax plan for $247.6 million. That budget now goes to the House. The U.S. Supreme Court today upheld the ban on prayer in school. Daniel Weissman, who is Jewish, sued to stop prayers at his daughter's graduation. He said 3 years earlier at a similar ceremony, they were asked to rise to prayer for Jesus Christ. Weissman said he was embarrassed. The court said its ruling was not an attack on religion, but said forcing students to pray in public schools was not constitutional. The value of cigarette stocks dropped today after another Supreme Court decision. The court ruled that federal law requiring warning labels on packs does not prevent people from suing tobacco companies. The case that went to the Supreme Court was the famous case of the late Rose Cipollone, a New Jersey woman who died of lung cancer after 42 years of smoking.
Or you think you've had trouble with bees' nests? Take a look at this. A yellow jacket hive the size of a small refrigerator growing inside a shed. Neighbors thought they'd smother the bugs by sealing up the building, but the hive only got bigger. Pest control experts say it could have as many as 1,000 queens, and it's getting bigger every day. They hope a well-armed exterminator can roust the bees this week. That's awesome.
Have you ever seen anything like that?
Star Trek or something.
Well, the Space Coast is buzzing about tomorrow's launch.
Let's see what the weather's going to do. Dave is next with the forecast.
Here is an important message from the nonprofit arm of the ARCO Group.
We've tried, but we just can't save the down payment and pay rent, too.
I've paid rent for 8 years.
You may qualify for a rent certificate, which is like a non-repayable voucher valued between $3,000 and $9,000, which will immediately start paying your rent.
Yeah, we get 100% credit for each payment. And we never have to pay it back.
If you have good credit, ARCO can help. It works. It worked for me.
With no rent to pay, you can make payments similar to your approved mortgage payment on your own custom home, where you can select it all: style, floor plan, carpet, and colors, and move in 6 to 10 months. To qualify, you must have had good, solid credit the past 2 years and a gross family annual income in excess of $25,000. Call 1-800-448-ARCO. That's 1-800-448-ARCO. Limited number of certificates available. Call 24 hours a day. 1-800-448-ARCO. Information packet mailed to you right away.
There's something happening late at night that you should know about. Abortion, AIDS, apartheid, American, Beatles, Bush, China, courts, crack, crime, environment, fire, food, forecast, Foster, Gorbachev, greenhouse, golf, gun, Roses, Haiti, housing, homeboy, hostage, Hussein, Israel, Jordan, Karma, Kill, KKK, love, Madonna, Mafia, MIA, money, peace, race, rain, Robert, royal, scandal, school, sex, strike, tax, Thomas, Trump, T2, war, X, live news, feature, sports, weather, world, national, local, 7 nights a week. Introducing NBC Nightside. News overnight, all night.
Space shuttle scheduled to go tomorrow, and we're looking at the weather, Dave.
Bad schedule, bad schedule. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have a day just like today. Now, Central Florida had a big break. We had a lot of cloud cover, but we didn't have the rain in this area, so maybe they'll be lucky tomorrow. Let's hope so. They need the luck. And overnight tonight in Central Florida, it's still overcast out there. There are a few breaks as well, but mainly on the eastern side of the state and to the south, and there are a few showers around. The low temperature in the morning around 75 degrees. The winds out of the southwest at about 10 miles per hour. Weather radar out of Daytona Beach still showing some light rain up here in the northeastern section of the state. We're catching some down on the bottom and some out to the west. Let's get the entire picture. Let's take a look at the radar, the compilation of the radars around the state of Florida to give you an idea, and it shows up a little more clear up here in the northeast, but much more rain down here to the south. They do have a few more breaks, big breaks compared to earlier today. when it was just solid rainfall down there, and especially around Manatee and Sarasota counties where they've had a lot of rain in the last 36 hours. And I'm speaking up around the double-digit numbers, around 10, 11 inches, but more common around 5, 6, and 7 inches. And they'll be getting more rain tomorrow. You can see down here in the Straits where it is solid rain. It looks like it will continue to come up from this disturbance that we've been watching in the northwestern Caribbean. Now, it's nearly stationary, so again, those winds are just pumping the moisture up this way. We've had the nice break so far this evening throughout Florida, but again, tomorrow should be picking up with more showers and thunderstorms. Right now in Ocala, 72 degrees, the wind calm, 77 Daytona Beach, in Melbourne, 75 degrees, and Orlando checking with 75, the wind out of south at 9 miles per hour. It's also been an active day around most of the country. Thunderstorms all over the place, and there's been a lot of severe weather reported associated with thunderstorms primarily, and usually the gusty winds knocking down tree limbs, hailstones reported. That includes Pennsylvania, Hurricane West Virginia picking up some hailstones earlier this evening, and even right now there's some severe weather potential from Minnesota reaching back into Wyoming and then back down into northern Oklahoma for thunderstorms for the next couple of hours. And the heat wave continues out west. As a matter of fact, Seattle had a record high today of 91. However, Hanford, Washington checked in with 108 degrees. We see a little bit of a cool spell up around the Great Lakes and the Northeast, and this has been the temperature regime now for many days. And I think it will stay that way at least for another day, and then we'll see how things move along. Forecast map, a lot of rain along this very weak front. It is trying to push to the south, but not very strongly. Again, the influence in our weather will be that disturbance in the Caribbean. So tomorrow, cloudy skies, overcast, showers and thunderstorms expected. Again, a high of 85, the wind southwest 10 to 15. An extended forecast, I'm looking down the road to Sunday, where we can see Mr. Sun poke his head out, or her head out over the cloud. There you go.
Ah, how nice of you. Thank you, Mr. Marsh.
Yeah, counting on you having a change of heart by tomorrow. Okay. A superstar plunks down millions for a Florida residence and a new residency for William Kennedy Smith.
Fred Bondison in DeLand, Central Florida's Chevy Truck headquarters, has made a special purchase of brand new 92 Chevy S10 Tahoe pickups loaded with factory air, stereo, and more for only $88.88. These pickups list for over $11.3. But this week at Fred Bondison, while they last, drive home in a new 92 Chevy S10 Tahoe pickup for only $88.88 with just $188 down, only $188 per month. Only at Fred Bondison Chevy on Highway 1792 in DeLand, exit 54 from I-4, just minutes from anywhere.
Hi, I'm Regis Philbin. If you're wondering where Kathy Lee is, well, I'll tell you. She found out who's going to be here for the next live, and she's out straightening up the green room. And you would be, too, with guests like this. On the next live, what's a nice guy like Matt Davis doing on Broadway? Well, he's starring in the Will Rogers Follies. We'll talk with him and see Adrienne Arpel perform instant beauty makeovers on the streets of New York.
Every morning I watch you and I want a makeover.
You want to make on the next live.
Thursday morning at 9 on Florida's 2.
On Monday nights, these are the kids the other networks want you to see. Sweet, loving, boring kids like these.
Yeah, sure, that's just what you want. These are our kids, wild, free, and just a bit dangerous.
Yo, what's up? Carl, you look like a pirate.
More laughs, more fun than all the other guys combined.
One's dating, one's driving. I'm in daddy hell.
So remember, you can watch these kids.
Or our kids. The Fresh Prince and Blossom, Mondays on NBC.
A U.S. senator who's a Vietnam veteran today charged the U.S. with leaving more than 100 American prisoners of war behind after the Vietnam War ended. At a hearing, Senator John Kerry of Massachusetts said there was evidence 113 Americans were being held in the late 70s. He said his committee would carefully investigate.
We believe that we can narrow the range of possibility in a way that is more real and more accurate than has ever been done before.
The contention is that some American prisoners had been part of covert action and were thus purposely left behind. Despite all the recent developments on the POW-MIA front, not one forgotten prisoner has been located.
There is about to be a political changing of the guard in Israel. Yitzhak Rabin's Labor Party has scored a stunning victory over Prime Minister Shamir's Likud party in parliamentary elections. Rabin had promised to curtail Jewish settlements and give autonomy to Palestinians. PLO leader Yasser Arafat is thrilled with the results of the elections. Our Secretary of State James Baker says he hopes peace negotiations can resume soon. The pace of presidential politics is picking up in this country. This is Democratic presidential candidate Bill Clinton in Boston tonight, but he was also in Orlando and nearly 100 other cities via satellite. Clinton calls it Link Up America, a 20th century combination fundraiser, stump speech, and issues forum. Presidential maybe Ross Perot denies charges that he's been trying to dig up dirt on President Bush and his family. Perot told the Today Show he's being victimized by a Republican Dirty Tricks Committee, and he puts the blame on Mr. Bush and his operatives. Ross Perot calls it politics as usual, although he still has yet to declare himself a candidate.
William Kennedy Smith began his residency in internal medicine today in New Mexico. A gaggle of reporters joined him as he headed for his first day of work. Smith was acquitted 6 months ago of sexually assaulting a Florida woman, and because of the case, he delayed his medical residency scheduled for last summer until now. And singer-entertainer Madonna bought herself a little vacation home on Miami's Biscayne Bay. Records at the Dade County Clerk's office show the sale was completed June 18th. It's a nice house, we hear. It reportedly cost her $4.9 million.
It was my old place when I lived down there.
Bachelor pad, no doubt?
Yeah, right.
Coming up in sports, the Magic love Shaq, but what does he think about tonight's draft?
We'll take you live to Portland to find out. Stay with us.
Major turning point for the Magic franchise.
Toyota dealers are heating up the deals.
Toyota's hot, hot, hot.
With their hottest sales event, red hot savings on the all-new Camry.
Toyota's hot, hot, hot. So loud.
Camry with more room, more power, and more safety.
Toyota's hot, hot, hot.
And now with an incredible 36-month easy drive lease payment of only $269 a month. Drive the new Camry for $269 a month.
Come to Jimmy Bryan Toyota now. He's got what's hot.
So you've got a new car, and you've got new payments. Big John can save you money on new oil for your new car, just like the dealership, but a lot cheaper and a lot faster. We've got all kinds of oil for all kinds of cars. So remember, when you need your car repaired, come see me, Big John, on Mason in Daytona and Ridgewood in South Daytona, because Big John can save you money.
We took a vote here and decided we'd let Catman wear number 2 if he wanted to. We'd give it up.
You're going to give up 2 to Catman,
Yeah.
huh?
It's a good deal, huh?
That's awfully big of you. He may want some money to wear your number. As we told you earlier in this newscast, the Magic did get their man tonight, drafting 7-foot 1-inch super center Shaquille O'Neal out of LSU. The Magic fanatics at the arena went nuts when the pick was made. Buddy Pittman was with Shaquille and his family in Portland. And, Buddy, it seemed as though Shaq actually enjoyed the announcement a bit himself.
I think he did, Mark. I think this was all a culmination of a lot of feelings that have led to Shaquille realizing his NBA dream. And that's what he said afterwards. He just wanted to play in the NBA, and this is the dream that has finally come true. You know, it seems almost unusual for the sun to still be shining here at 11:30, so to speak, in the evening. But it has been a bright day here, particularly for the Orlando Magic, because although everyone knew exactly what was going to happen, it was not official until Commissioner David Stern uttered those words a little after 7:40 this evening.
The Orlando Magic selects Shaquille O'Neal.
Those words by Commissioner David Stern mark a major turning point for the Magic franchise. One of the most dominant players to ever come out of college ball, Shaquille O'Neal, is now heading to Orlando.
Well, I'm looking forward to, to playing with Orlando. They have a nice young gun type team, and they have a very classic organization, and they have great new owners. And I think once I learn the ropes and get my feet wet, I'm gonna be an all right player. And, I think if we get the right chemistry going and play hard and play together, anything is possible.
I'm still not relieved yet. I think that it's going to take a little while for it to sink in, but, it was anticipation, and it kind of went to a hilt when he was picked by Orlando Magic.
A lot of relief finally, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of relief. Now we go to bed now and rest a whole lot better now.
Until after the draft, the Magic have not been able to talk money with Shaquille or his agent, Leonard Amato. So now the O'Neal camp is ready to see what kind of pace the Magic want to set.
Buddy, I don't know exactly what it's going to take. So I think they really need to set the tone from the outset to determine how to go forward with this thing.
So there's no real idea when the number bending will start.
It's hard for me to figure that one out, but I've heard that the Magic really want to try to move this thing along. So when I get down there tomorrow, we'll see.
And Amato seemed genuinely interested, should I say, in actually getting out into business, and let's get this thing worked out for Shaquille O'Neal and the Magic, so hopefully that will transpire. Shaq had about 32 family members and friends with him here in Portland this evening. A good number of those will be journeying on to Orlando tomorrow. They'll be spending a lot of time at Disney and just enjoying the area, but also, I'm sure, doing some serious talking with Pat Williams and the front office of the Orlando Magic. So it has been a big day here in Portland, Mark, and I'm sure even more exciting back there in Orlando.
I think we're all exhausted, buddy. Have a safe trip back, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We will.
All right, the Shaq Pack going to put a dent in the Magic budget just flying here tomorrow. Now it's up to Pat Williams to try and get O'Neal signed, and the sooner the better as far as the Magic is concerned. Williams says they will strike a deal.
Yeah, ultimately, we got to negotiate. We got a hard job ahead of us. We got a lot of work that has to go into it, but we're going to sign him. That's why we drafted him, and we're prepared to sign him.
Obviously, signing Shaq is going to take a lot of work, not to mention some roster reshuffling and creative financing. The first big question the Magic will likely have to answer has to do with restricted free agent Stanley Roberts, a former college teammate of O'Neal's at LSU, where the Tigers' Twin Towers experiment failed. Is there room for 2 7-footers on the Magic's roster? Stanley told us yes tonight.
I hope so. I hope it's not that many problems. You know, we had a lot of problems at LSU, but I think, you know, it's a totally different team, a new atmosphere, and hopefully we can do that.
All right, let's run down the top 10 picks for you from tonight's draft. You know that Shaquille was taken number 1, followed by Georgetown center Alonzo Mourning. He goes to Charlotte. Christian Laettner out of Duke to Minnesota. Jimmy Jackson, the shooting guard from Ohio State, to Dallas. LaFonso Ellis, a forward out of Notre Dame, goes to Denver. With the 6th pick, Washington takes Tom Gugliotta out of NC State. Walt Williams, a 6'8" shooting guard from Maryland, goes to Sacramento. Todd Day goes to Milwaukee. He's one of 3 Arkansas players taken in the first round. Southwest Missouri's Clarence Weatherspoon goes to Philly, and Adam Keefe, a forward from Stanford, goes to Atlanta. And finally, the Miami Heat pick 12th, and by most accounts, the Heaters got a steal, folks. Harold Miner, the great guard out of Southern Cal, who fancies himself a mini Michael Jordan. In fact, his nickname is Baby Jordan. This kid's got some moves. The Magic are going to learn to hate Harold Miner. Just one upset at Wimbledon today. Arancha Sanchez Vaquero is gone.
All right, big night.
Yes, it was.
Thanks.
We'll be back with the final story in a minute. Stay with us.
1 baby to go, please.
You put in the order, we deliver. What do you want?
A great-granddaughter.
You got it.
Sammy Davis Jr. guest star.
Great-grandfather. It's a boy. 7 pounds, 8 ounces.
All right.
Congratulations.
Hey, but Doc, you promised me a girl.
Sue me.
Beginning at 3 on Florida's 2.
It's the Kissimmee Old-Fashioned 4th of July, a free day of fun at Lakefront Park for the entire family. Amusement rides, food, kids games, clowns, and arts and crafts. Enjoy the foot-stomping sounds of autumn rain and more. Free Tri-County Transit shuttle from Mill Creek Mall. Don't miss the Kissimmee Old-Fashioned 4th of July, sponsored by the City of Kissimmee, Osceola News-Gazette, Kissimmee St. Cloud Tourist Development Council, K92 FM, and your friends at Channel 2.
Well, don't you think it was nice of NASA to schedule a space shuttle launch for Shaquille O'Neal tomorrow? It's supposed to go at 12:07. Here's a look one more time for you. The window runs to 2:37, so they've got 2.5 hours to try to find a hole in the clouds, Dave Marsh, to punch Columbia through there. What do you think?
Well, I think it doesn't look too good right now. I think it's right. The odds around 30–40% that they might get off, but it looks like it's going to be a cloudy, rainy day again. The chances are very good for that, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope there's a nice big hole there.
There were some holes today, so maybe they will make it.
Yeah, plenty of clouds, no rain, but I think we'll get some rain tomorrow.
Okay.
However it turns out, you'll see it live here tomorrow, and of course, we'll stay on it for you.
All right, we'll see you then.